But we are hard at work on the magazine. And one of the things we do, I don't know if you know this, but we preview every high school team in the state.
Every single one.
Every single one. And so when the way we get the information is that we send out a questionnaire to every coach in the state. They send it back. That gives us kind of a nice base of information, who the head coach is and who the top 5 players are, stuff like that. We try to follow up, get a little more deeper information and stuff like that, but that gives us the nuts and bolts. And one of the things that we always ask is we ask about the number of starters that they have coming back. Now, I would love to run a real professional correlation study
between the number of returning and success.
Yes,
yeah,
I would, because
sure.
I think that it's the kind of thing that we look at it and go, you know what, they've got a ton coming back, so they're going to be better,
right?
Or they're going to be good. And I think we just kind of say that,
right,
without necessarily having any data to back that up. Does that make sense?
That absolutely makes sense.
Because, so let me look. I've got the 2015 summer edition here. I'm just going to turn to 6A, okay? And I'm going to see what Katy had coming back and what Galena Park North Shore had coming back, okay? So Katy, in 2016, had 5 starters on offense, so less than half their offense,
right,
and 6 starters on defense, a little more than half their defense, okay? Galena Park North Shore, first of all, they started the year ranked 22nd.
I know.
So what do we know? Yeah. They had 3 starters coming back offensively and 6 starters back on defense. So, if you want to draw that correlation, I think you can, but I don't think it's a lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels type thing where if you have a bunch of starters coming back, you're going to be good.
Right.
I think there's a lot of factors go into it. But let's also say, I'm comfortable saying that if you have a lot of starters coming back, I'm a lot more willing to go out on a limb for you.
I think so, too. I think, look, we talk about this a lot. If you finished 5th in your district and you are returning 20 starters, I'm less inclined to think that you're going to make an astronomical leap, right?
Correct.
But if you finished in the top 8 last year, didn't win it all, or you did, and you're bringing back 17, 18, 19 starters, guess what?
Yeah.
I think you're going to be pretty good.
I think you're going to be pretty good. So, a couple of teams that caught my eye as I'm going through the magazine, of teams that have a ton of starters coming back. We start way out west in El Paso. El Paso Americas will return 10 starters offensively, and it's not just that they've got a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
They also got a almost 1,700-yard rusher in Joshua Fields coming back. They've got him. They've got Colton Lindemann at the linebacker spot. They got Mike Munoz on the defensive side. They've got 10 starters offensively coming back. That makes me think that the Trailblazers, Coach Patrick Melton's squad, are going to be pretty good. That's especially out there. And now I understand what everybody's yelling at me right now on the internet. Hey, Tepper, that's El Paso. They never compete on the statewide level in 6A. And you know what? You're right. That's absolutely true. El Paso's never won a state title. They've never really come super close in the big school ranks. I'm simply telling you that if you're looking for a team with a bunch of experience, if that's something that's important to you when you're making your own predictions and picks, then El Paso America's got it in spades. So that's something to keep an eye on. Another team that's got it in spades, and I don't think is going to be a secret that they're going to be pretty good this year, Cedar Hill.
Yeah.
The Longhorns offensively bring back 10 starters. Plus 6 on defense, so it's not like they're any slouch over there. And the starters they got coming back are superstars. Okay, Avery Davis, the quarterback, Charleston Rambo, the wide receiver, Kagan Williams, the Stephenville transfer, in at running back. This is a team that is loaded. And when you give Joey McGuire a number of things, 1, you give him an experienced squad, and 2, you give him a chip on his shoulder. After last year, after bowing out in the first round of South Lake Carroll, becoming basically the first casualty to the new UIL rule of hosting, you get to host first round playoff games, you give him a chip on his shoulder. It's a dangerous team. And Avery Davis, if you have not seen him, that's a special kid. And I really think they're going to be making some moves this year.
And that's a group that averaged 36 points per game. It's pretty good.
They seem like they're
against very good competition.
Fort Bend Marshall, down in the Houston area. Fort Bend Marshall's offense is bringing back 10 starters as well. And it really, their strength is in the is in the hog mollies. Their strength is up front. Barton Clement, their offensive lineman, is kind of going to lead that way. Same with Bryant Newsome. They got big beef up front.
Right.
And when you've got, I mean, if you want to tell me that you've got a lot of starters coming back, that's fine. Like if you got 7 starters coming back, but you have only 1 or 2 of them are offensive linemen,
right,
and maybe you don't have your quarterback, I'm a little less interested.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a tight end and 3 wide receivers and a running back and 1 offensive lineman, like that's like, yes, you're going to have what? That's 7 starters coming back, 6 or 7 starters coming back, but that's not the same. When you have an experienced offensive line like Thorpe and Marshall's going to have coming back, I think that is a team to watch. The Buffaloes down there in Fort Bend. So a team. Here's what's super interesting. Let's talk about Kennedale first.
This is a really interesting one.
So Kennedale, this is not breaking news. Kennedale lost their best player from last year. Okay, Q Wadley's gone. Q Wadley's off to UTEP to be the next big thing for the Miners. Okay, they lost their 3,000-yard rusher. They lost the heartbeat of their team. Okay. And so I think that there is going to be this thought. There's going to be this instinctual move towards, okay, well, Kennedale, they're going to kind of come back to the pack, right?
Right.
What if I told you that Kennedale has...
It's the start of a 30 for 30?
What if I told you that Kennedale has 10 starters coming back on defense? And what if I told you that one of those starters...
by the way...
may be the best linebacker in the state?
Maybe the best linebacker in the country.
In Baron Browning.
Yeah.
Okay?
Pretty good.
Between him, Jamar Daniels, Stephon Jackson in that front 7, this defense is going to be lethal. Now, I know what you're saying. Yes, but, Greg, they lost Q Wadley. And I am certainly... They also lost Dalen Wells, Jonathan Zielinski. I am not downplaying that at all. Okay?
Sure.
You, especially in the 4A level, if you lose that kind of transcendent talent that Q Wadley was, that he was the heartbeat of that team, I understand that's going to be more difficult to fill. I understand. I'm just telling you that Kennedale, while they may take a step back on offense,
maybe a lot better on defense.
Might be a lot better on defense, and I wonder if that's going to be a net positive.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So that's a super interesting one to me. Staying in the small school ranks, Henrietta, the Bearcats, team we don't talk too much about, but probably should. Another team kind of from the DFW area. They bring back 10 starters defensively, not to mention 7 on offense. Ben McCreary, their big-time wide receiver, the running back, and Mason Hansen, who ran for almost 500 yards last year, a big offensive line for that size of school. This is a Henrietta squad that, especially, I think when you get down to the lower levels, that's where experience really comes in handy. Yeah. I think that's where it makes a bigger difference. Everyone's got athletes at the 6A level that you can plug and play, but if you lose a bunch off of your team from last year at the 2A level or the 3A level in Henrietta's case, then I think you may be in trouble. And finally, one I want to talk about, and I think I've mentioned them on the show before.
I think you have too.
Down there in the Houston area. So Hull-Daisetta. Yeah. And I understand what you're saying. Tap. Buddy. Hull-Daisetta went 2-8 last year.
It's true.
What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? What if I told you they bring back all but 1 starter?
That's a lot.
Period. Not on offense, not on defense. Total. They lose
21.
1 defensive starter. They have 21 starters coming back. I'm not suggesting that Hull-Daisetta is going to go from 2-8 to a state championship game. I am not suggesting that. What I am saying, though, is that if you are a believer that experience begets better product, then you take a hard look at Hull-Daisetta and you go, okay, the Bobcats have something here because they've got a ton of starters coming back, and they all took their lumps last year, but they all took their lumps together,
right? And
they're back for 1 more year. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye on them. And I also think that realignment maybe did them a favor or two. They dropped down to Division II. And then they've also they get out of the district with Lovelady and Centerville. So I think
that'll be a big help.
I think that things are overall a little bit better. Now they're in there with Iola, and Iola's going to be solid. And they were great last year. They're going to be solid again. But I think that Hull-Daisetta, if you're looking for a team with a ton of experience, that's maybe a team to buy some stock in. Buy low.
And this is also a big reason that we brought up Ira Ann at the end of last week.
Ira Ann's got a million starters coming back.
There's a top 6 team, top 6-8 team in their division, and 18, I believe, was the number. 18
The number
starters?
is they have 10 starters on offense and 8 starters on defense. So that's a team. That's a program with pedigree. If you want,
Right.
if you want to say, oh well, Greg Hull-Daisetta is not very good, that's fine. What's your excuse here for Iran? Because Iran went 13-1, and they're bringing back 18 starters. So I look at Iran, the Braves. Now they're going to have to eventually go through Bremont to win the state title, and they got to get out of Region 2 to
Which
begin
is
with.
a bear.
It is, but Iran, another example of a squad with a ton coming back that you might want to keep an eye on.